Okay, so here we are live once again with another Masters of the Universe Masterverse unboxing, and this is Ninjor from the new Eternia subline. There's a nice piece of artwork on there with Ninjor, and over here we got his bestest bro, Scareglow. Yeah, these two they came out in the same wave, and they kind of became joined at the hip. They were teamed up in the mini comic that came with these figures, and they were teamed up in the full size Marvel comic when that came out. And I believe there were some European uh, Masters of the Universe comics where they were teamed up in those. Like maybe they were British. I don't remember. But and then over here we got a portrait of Ninjor with some of the various masks that this figure comes with. Oh yeah, he comes with a mask. And there we got the sorceress over here, looking all looking all sexy. Yeah, I love the sorceress. So yeah, Ninjor, very cool character, very cool figure. In the original line, he's one of those that since he didn't have a whole lot of media appearances, just a few comic book appearances, he was kind of a blank slate, and I was able to really imagine Ninjor as being whatever kind of character I wanted him to be. It's the same with Scareglow, actually. And that's why you get into that controversy as to whether or not Scareglow is actually like the spirit of a deceased Skeletor, or if he's just an evil ghost serving Skeletor when it says evil ghost of Skeletor. But we're not going to get into that Scareglow controversy right now. This isn't the episode for that. This is us talking about Ninjor. So I go ahead and get the bottom of the box open, but I really should read the bio on the back, shouldn't I? And there we've got the cross-cell artwork with Ninjor and Terror Claws Skeletor, who looks all cyborgy in this version, and She-Ra, which I do have that She-Ra figure pre-ordered from Walmart, but I don't know when it's ever going to actually show up. I don't know if I'm going to get Terror Claws Skeletor. I might not. It's going to depend a lot on, like, if I see the figure in person and I think he looks really cool, I'll go ahead and buy him. But I'm kind of on the fence about him right now. It says Ninjor, evil ninja warrior, the demon king from the dimension of Noir, silently searched for the scattered remains of New Eternia. Oh, I'm sorry. Silently searched the scattered remains of New Eternia for the power of Grayskull, so he may become an immortal force of evil. Yeah, so he's a bad man. So here's the figure itself, and you can see that in the blister it has his bow, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Set that aside for now, because as usual with these Masterverse figures, we got this whole separate compartment. Oh, and I hadn't showed these on the other ones, but it does have the content. I forgot to show that with King Randor and what was the other one that I'd opened? Faker. But yeah, he's got his katana and his nunchucks and a couple of masks. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this little baggie opened. And he's got a blue baggie. Sometimes he's have red baggies, but this last couple of waves, seem to have blue baggies. So, and here is a mask with what looks kind of like a human face on it. Now, the original Ninjor had a soft goods ninja hood that fit over his face, and underneath he just had like a regular looking, kind of Asian character with a mustache and goatee and a top knot, and it looked kind of like a handsomer version of Jitsu. And there's the katana looking very cool. So we got the demon mask, the more human-ish looking mask, though not necessarily entirely human, and then these nunchucks that they're molded in like a translucent pink plastic. You could say red, you could say pink. It's whatever color Darth Vader's lightsaber usually is. Uh, but uh, but yeah, so it's obviously supposed to be like kind of like energy nunchucks in this version. The one weapon that doesn't seem to be like an energy weapon at all is this is just a plain old katana. Maybe they didn't want to get too closely into that Darth Vader territory, but he's got the masks, and one of them is a more demonish looking mask. And now let's go ahead and get Ninjor himself out of the package. So we've got this bow, which has got like it's molded in that same kind of translucent reddish pinkish plastic that the nunchucks are. And you can see it's supposed to be like an energy bow. It's got like an energy string and an energy arrow in there, kind of reminiscent of Hank on the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, if you remember that. How like he had like a bow that had like a when you would pull it back, it would have that energy arrow and energy string. So a little bit of inspiration from that, it seems. So again, set that aside for now. And now Ninjor himself, we can get him out of the package and have a look at this figure. So yeah, he was a character that I liked from when they introduced him in the original Masters of the Universe series, and like ninjas were huge back in the 1980s. So ninjas are still pretty popular nowadays, but in the 1980s, you just couldn't get away from ninjas, and every toy line had to have its own ninja figure, like whether it made sense or not. Like there's a ninja characters in Transformers. Don't ask me why. But one of my favorite Transformers characters, a little bit more of an obscure character, unless you're a fan of the comic books, was Bludgeon. And he was a samurai more than a ninja. But still, it's the samurai ninja. When you're a kid, you don't really make that much of a differentiation. There is very much of a differentiation, but I think when you're a kid, you don't really mind so much. You just want like a cool martial artist with a sword, and that's good enough. Likewise, Samurai in the Superpowers line, I think, scratched that itch for DC Comics fans. Of course, GI Joe had ninjas and martial artists and samurai all over it. Obviously Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Quick Kick, Budo, the Night Creepers, and then you had an entire subline of Ninja Force in the 1990s. And of course, Ninja Turtles, all about ninjas that happen to be turtles. But yeah, and by the way, I do have a few Ninja Turtles items coming up to open up. We got the Shredder and we got Casey Jones. Should be pretty exciting. So if you want to make sure you don't miss that one, make sure you like and subscribe and all that fun stuff below. But we'll get back to talking about that in a minute. But yeah, of course, like He-Man already had a martial arts character in Jitsu, but I liked Ninjor a little bit better than I liked Jitsu. And Jitsu again, like was I think more sort of samurai inspired, and Ninjor was purely a ninja. So I can see he's got places to store his accessories and everything. He doesn't have a quiver, which makes sense because he's got like like I said, it's more of an energy bow. And they are obviously intending this to be the main weapon of this particular version of the character because it's the one that's packaged into the blister with him. It's obviously a selling point. Look, he's got this cool energy bow, but he does have the other ninja weapons that Ninjor usually comes with. So let's have a look at those real quick. So here's the nunchucks. And I'm sure you noticed before the nunchucks are on a loose chain, so you can actually have him swing the nunchucks around. So that's pretty cool. And he can hold the nunchucks in two hands. So that's nice. And you can do the thing where like the armor should help with this. It should give us a little bit more of a, I think it should hopefully give us a little bit more of a place to stick this, but you can kind of stick it underneath his armpit, that kind of thing going on. And it has a little bespoke nunchuck holster over here with the demon face sculpted into it. Grant G is here and he says, "Oh, cool, Ninjor." See, he knows how cool Ninjor is. So there we go. There's the nunchucks in their little holster. And then my personal favorite weapon for Ninjor is always the katana, the ninja sword. And there he is with that, looking very badass. And I believe the original version, it was just a reuse of, I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a while, a reuse of Jitsu's ninja sword, which unfortunately had the handguard on the wrong side. But hey, look, we can't actually get him into a pretty cool two-handed pose with the katana. So that's pretty nice. Even though these figures are kind of muscle bound, sometimes it's kind of difficult for me to get these characters into a two-handed sword grip. But thankfully, with this one, I didn't have a hard time. And the hilt of the sword, it actually is long enough that he could easily grip it with two hands. And oops, I popped his hand off. He lost his hand already. Oh, that's Skeletor's hand. So I guess it wasn't on there very good. It went into the box of stuff, didn't it? The box of stuff where stuff falls and perhaps never to return. Let's see. Oh, where did he go? There's Batman and the Joker. And this old Joker. Is that it? No, that's something else. That's some character's foot, some red boot. That's a Superman figure. Pardon me just a moment while I reach for my flashlight. Everything's falling over. We got a flashlight around here somewhere. Gonna be on the exact opposite of where I need it to be. All right. Flashlight. So hopefully I can see where that hand went. Don't you just hate it when you're doing a live video and you lose the hand to an action figure? You don't know where it went. Isn't that frustrating? It actually did not go into the box of stuff. Sean Franklin is here. Hi, Sean Franklin. And he asks, do you think, what do you think about the Captain Planet live action movie? I think it's probably overdue at this point because, they could have probably done it like 10 years ago and caught on to that 90s nostalgia. I think it's probably still gonna hit that 90s nostalgia button pretty well. Captain Planet might actually be a more appropriate character for nowadays because it seems like people just are more concerned about the environment, even more concerned about the environment now than they were back in the 1990s. But yeah, I remember the original Captain Planet. Neil Adams did some design work for that, and a lot of the action figure packaging had his artwork on it, and the merchandise and things like that. So yeah, there is some legitimate comic book connection there with Captain Planet. They knew what they were doing getting Neil Adams. Neil Adams is the man. Anyway, well, he was the man because he passed away. So, but he'll always be the man to me. Anyway, so Ninjor does have the this little loop that you can stick the ninja sword into, so he can hold on to that. Now, I don't know if there's a place to store the bow once you're not using that, but maybe you could just kind of hook it over the sword if you just wanted him to be holding all of his weapons like in storage, not actually using any of them. You could maybe do that, I guess. Or maybe you could hook it onto this thing. All kinds of places you could think of to put that, I suppose. But let's get a look at him holding the bow and arrow. And the arrow does look a little short to really get a good archery pose out of him. But man, this wrist came out too. Be really careful with the wrists on this guy. It seems like his hands come out of his wrists very easily. we can get a little bit of an archery pose. It looks more like he's just about to pull back than actually pulling back. So that's it for all the weapons. Let's go ahead and talk. Oh wait, we got more accessories though. So like I said, the original Ninjor came with a fabric hood that you could take off of the figure, and he had an unmasked head underneath. But this one, it's just a solid molded to the hood. Uh, Grant G says that's funny how the King Randor figure looks like you. Yeah, I thought it was funny. I appreciate it. I don't, like I said, I don't know if they did that on purpose. I don't know. I can't say they did that on purpose, but if they had done it on purpose, that's how they would have done it. So this guy, rather than having a mask that you take off, he has masks that you put on, and you can see that he's got like normal human skin color, where you can see his face. So I'm assuming underneath he probably looks like what the original Ninjor figure looks like underneath, but who knows? Because this is a new Eternia, he could look completely different. But let's go ahead and put some of these other masks on him and see what he looks like. So rather than having a mask where you could take off the fabric mask and see the human face underneath, this one has a more human-like face that you can put over his ninja mask, almost as if he's trying to look human, but not quite succeeding. He does have like very pale skin, a lot more pale than a human being normally is. So even more pale than like an albino would be. He's very pale, and he's got like just dead white eyes. So it's that kind of look where like he looks really creepy. So it's maybe at a distance he could pass for a normal human, but I don't think he would if he got close up. So anyway, and then the other face, they already said that this version of Ninjor is unambiguously a demon, and he does have like some really creepy, demonic looking red eyes. Very cool. But we can put an actual demon mask onto him, and it looks very much like a Japanese demon mask, like you would see like in ancient Japan. Really cool. I like these extra added details. They're very nice. So I usually just left the mask on my original Ninjor. So I do like how he's just got the mask sculpted on. I suppose they could have done like alternate removable heads, but whatever. The masks I like. I like the masks. So let's go ahead and talk some about the actual figure itself, which we haven't really. So one of the things that like is kind of the innovation for this one is we can see he's got this removable belt, which has got some armor pieces on the sides, and that's where those the ninja holster, the nunchuck holsters are. He does still have furry trunks at the side that you can see once you take it off, but in the front it's almost more of like a plate mail kind of thing. So it looks really cool, I think. But it is different from. They do tend to do that with these new Eternia figures. I find is rather than just give everybody the same He-Man furry shorts like the original figures do, they'll give unique designs to the loincloths and things like that. Although I do think this is the same belt that we've seen on some of the other He-Man figures before. It does look like it's got maybe a little more detail to it, but it might be reused from something. And like the original Ninjor reused the Skeletor feet and hands, and you can see that these still have like reminiscence, like look kind of similar to feet and hands that we've seen on Skeletor before. Like for example, I've got the the vintage style Skeletor before, so you can see similarities in the feet, but they're actually newly designed feet that like look at the way the toes are set up, and you can see that they're different from these Skeletor feet, and they have like more of a look to them, like they're supposed to be armored, but almost like they're based on like a crustacean or something like that. These would probably be good boots for a clawful figure. In fact, if they reused these boots and these forearm guards for clawful, I think that would actually look really cool. But Grant G says, what do you think about them turning him into a demon? And my question is, maybe he was always a demon. Maybe he was always supposed to be like that because he always was from another dimension. So maybe he's uh was at one point like a human ninja that got possessed by. I mean, we've seen this before where like a human character gets melded with a demon. So maybe it's not too uncommon over there. Maybe some kind of like demon inhabited a humanoid ninja, and that's how we got Ninjor. But the I like the idea that there's if not him being like a literal demon, at least being kind of supernatural, if that makes any sense. Because this is the Masters of the Universe world, so it makes sense to me that he's not entirely human, if he's human at all, or just something kind of posing as a human. But he does have like a lot of detail that they put onto the figure that does not exist on the original Ninjor figure. Like, for example, he's got this armored breastplate, which I think looks really cool. And an interesting thing about this figure is the original Ninjor was pretty much all black with like some red accents. Like he had red gloves, red boots, red belt, red dragon emblem on his chest. But for the most part, his outfit was solid black. But this outfit is actually like different shades to it. Like you can see the breastplate is more of like a dark gunmetal color, and the bodysuit underneath is like a very dark kind of bluish gray. That's not just lighting that's affecting it. That actually is truly like more of a dark bluish gray. And you can see that the mask itself, it's black, and the loincloth trunks piece, that's black. So it does give a little more sort of like visual depth to the character, I think. So that's cool. So it's a very cool looking figure. It's definitely like an update on the original Ninjor, and brings some more things to the table. But it's still, I think, reminiscent enough of the original Ninjor that fans of the classic line are going to appreciate it. I know I did. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation somewhat. Ninjor can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders. They don't really seem to. They did a good job making this breastplate where it doesn't really bump into the arms that much. I guess it depends on how far in you have the arms bent when you spin it around. And arms move up at the shoulders about that far. I think this one should move up a little bit further, but it's kind of sticking. But that's fine. Rotates all the way around at the bicep. He's got the bicep swivel, so that's good. He's got double jointed elbows, which that's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. It's these Masterverse figures, they're kind of muscle bound, so it doesn't get like the full range like some other figures might get, but it's still got, I think, a pretty decent range of motion there. Now I'm having a hard time getting his arm to go back down. It's probably just joints that need to be worked out and loosened up a little bit. They'll be fine after a while. He's got that sort of Masterverse joint right underneath the rib cage, where the ribs meet the abs, so you can get a little bit of movement out of that. The breastplate doesn't really interfere with it too much. I mean, it does kind of bump into it some, but it doesn't interfere with it as much as you might think. And this breastplate does come off. It's got like a little buckle back here, and it's got little buckles over here. So you could, if you wanted to, take this breastplate off very easily. That's what he looks like underneath. So again, the original Ninjor figure had soft goods for his gi, so it was just a fabric gi that could be removed. But I guess they figured if they're going to make it out of like plastic anyway, they might as well just make a breastplate out of it. And I think that was a good decision. I think the breastplate looks really cool. So I'm sure there will be some purists out there that would rather it be like sculpted to look like a fabric gi, like they did with the Origins figure. But I like the innovations that they do with these new Eternia figures. And like I said, most of these new Eternia figures have it set up in such a way where you can display them. Like this is to me pretty accurate to it's not 100% accurate. It's like I said, breastplate instead of a gi, but it's pretty accurate to uh, what the original one looks like. Once we take the extra belt off, and then he gets more into the classic sort of look. Grant G asks, how many new Eternia figures do I have? Not enough. Because I don't have all of them. Like there's a few of them that I missed out on. Like the distribution has been kind of spotty on these. So some figures, I think they get way, way, way too many of them, and then they wind up getting discounted. And then some figures is just like you just never see them at all. Like I was never able to get the Revelation Prince Adam figure, for example. That's one that comes to mind instantly as one. What wasn't able to get that one? And then some of them I'd see pop up at places like Five Below. So like the Sorceress, for example, I got her at Five Below, like of all places. Got the Sorceress and Manny Faces and Shadow Weaver and Pighead. That whole assortment showed up at Five Below of all places. So, where was I? Articulation. So, Ninjor can kick up about that far, which is really good range of motion for kicking for these figures. And, he's a ninja, so you really need him to kick. Merman is another one that I had a hard time finding. The new Eternia Merman. Like I've seen a couple of they did a couple of Revolution Merman figures, and they're pretty good. I probably need to go and snatch one of those up while I get the chance. But I really wanted to get that new Eternia one, and he was just awesome, and I missed out on that one entirely, unfortunately. So now he's like really expensive. It's like a $50 figure. So maybe I'll find one for a good price one day, but I'll hold out hope. So he does have a thigh cut, so the thigh rotates all the way around. He's got double jointed knees. This one seems kind of stiff. I'm just going to gently coax it. There we go. Never force your action figure joints. That's how you break your action figure joints. If you can't move it by gently coaxing it, try to apply some heat with like a hair dryer or hot water or something like that. But that's about the range of motion you get at the knee. It's just a stiff joint. I was able to work it out. And then boot cut, so the boot rotates all the way around. And then Ninjor's foot can point down about that far, which is surprising. I definitely thought that that with all the detail on the boots that we kind of bump into the one of those ridges there, but it kind of slid over it, and that's pretty cool. I like that. And his foot points up about that far, and of course the foot rotates all the way around where the foot meets the ankle. And there we go. That's the articulation on Ninjor. So I'm going to go ahead and put the put the extra belt back on him, because I'm going to take my my thumbnail picture in just a minute as soon as I wrap up this video. So Ninjor is a great figure. I think fans of the character that are able to get a hold of this one are going to be really happy with him. I know I'm really happy with him. I'll put the sword back in his hand. So he's not a character that ever appeared on the Filmation cartoon, but he still wound up being like a very ridiculously popular character anyway, because like I said, ninja, it was the 80s. We loved ninjas. So yeah, and I think that might have actually helped with the character somewhat, because you didn't have like a set personality from the cartoon that you felt the need to sort of adhere to. I think this thing might be able to, if you want to stick that into the sword sheath. So if you just want to have him using the sword, but it's got to be one or the other, I think. But yeah, so my version of Ninjor was always pretty badass, and he was probably a little more serious than they took a lot of the villains on the Filmation cartoon. And I'm not trying to be critical of the Filmation cartoon when I say that, but it's it is the sort of thing where, like, when I played with Trapjaw or Triclops, they were always interpreted as being like a bit more of a serious threat than they were kind of goofy characters on the Filmation cartoon. And I understand why they did that, and I'm not complaining. But it is a fact that I played with those characters in a different way than what they showed up. And Ninjor never appeared on the Filmation cartoon, so I didn't have anything to try to compete with my idea that this was just a badass ninja warrior, and he would mess you up if you got in his way. So anyway, that's pretty much it for Ninjor. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe, all the fun YouTube stuff down below. YouTube likes it when I say to like and subscribe, because then that affects the algorithm and more people tend to watch the video. And when more people watch the video, more people can like and subscribe. And YouTube likes it when you like and subscribe. So I'm just going to keep hammering that in. So don't blame me, blame YouTube. So leave a comment down below. YouTube also likes it when you leave comments. Let me know what you think about Ninjor, both this figure specifically and any Ninjor figures that have come out previously, and the character in general, and how you use Ninjor in your Masters of the Universe storylines. Let me know what you think about this character. Thank you so much for stopping by and sitting on my couch with me and talking about action figures for a little bit. I always appreciate the company. And we'll be back on the next episode with more Masters of the Universe. But that's it for Masterverse. We've gotten through all the Masterverse. We do need more subscribers for my channel. Grant G is a subscriber on my channel, and he doesn't want to be alone. It's a growing channel. I see more people subscribing to my channel every week, every day. I see more people popping up, and it's always nice to see. But if you're not one of those subscribers, we want you to be one of those subscribers. We want you to be part of this team. So please go ahead and do that. But yeah, next up is we're gonna be opening some Masters of the Universe Origins figures. So like I pointed out, I actually had that I'd forgotten about. Do I have it over here? I don't know if I have it over here or if I set it somewhere else. I have the Hurricane Hordak figure that we got to open up. Still, I've been sitting on that one for a while. We've got Grizzlor from the Filmation cartoons. That's the first Grizzlor that I've been able to get in Origins, because I wasn't able to get the first one. So I'm excited to finally have Grizzlor for my evil horde. And then we got this big old box of stuff. Where did I put that? Yeah, this 4 action figures to open up all at once. Battle for Eternia with the Paragon Champion, the Skell Knight, the Horde Revenant, and the Pit Warden. So that's all 4 factions of the classic Masters of the Universe lines, with our Heroic Warriors, our Evil Warriors, the Evil Horde, and the Snake Men. So Hurricane Hordak is awesome. Well, I'll be finding out soon for myself, because I'm going to be opening that up. But yeah, I've been looking forward to that one for a while. So, and I almost forgot that I had him. He was just sitting here on my couch, and I'm like, okay, I've got all this Master of the Universe Origins stuff to open up, and I feel like I'm forgetting something. And oh yeah, Hurricane Hordak, I got him to open. So yeah, and since there's a Horde member in this, it's like an all Horde assortment of not all the figures are Horde, obviously, but every episode is going to tie in with the Horde, so that's fun. But that's pretty much it for Ninjor. Get one more shot of him before I end the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back next episode with Grizzlor. Hope you enjoy it. Take care. Bye.